It's HPR, All Things Considered, and I'm Dave Lawrence. Today saying aloha and farewell to a pair of cats we are so grateful were guests over the years. Thank you very much for joining us today. Starting this hour with legendary bluesman and guitarist John Hammond. He was our guest in 2016 during a Hawaii tour, and he passed away this past Saturday at 83. And as you'll hear, John Hammond had a huge resume and lots of stories to tell as we sat in our Atherton Performing Arts studio. We're remembering John Hammond here on HPR. It's one of my very favorite rooms to get to do anything in, even if I don't have John Hammond hanging out with me. How you doing? Good to see you.
Very good. It's very, very nice to be back in Hawaii.
It can go both ways, obviously. With a dad like yours, I was going to say it factors into your musical inspiration, but what I understand is it's a certain Jimmy Reed record that might have sparked it, how you gravitated to be this cat that we have.
Oh, gee, that's kind of a tough call. I remember when I was 7 years old, 1949, my father brought me to hear Big Bill Brunsey, who was one of the great folk blues players from the 20s and the 30s. He was playing this show in New York, and I went and I was so impressed. I mean, to this day, I can remember how I was impressed by that. And in 1958 or so, I saw Jimmy Reed play at the Apollo Theater in New York.
It was live at so many great records.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
I'd never seen anyone play guitar and harmonica at the same time, and I was very impressed. I got a guitar in 1960, and I started playing professionally in 1962, and I incorporated the harmonica rack and pretty much what I'm doing today.
And you left college.
I went to college in 1960. I was a painter, art student. I had gone to art schools for a long time, so that was my comfort zone. My first day in Art 101, I realized that this isn't what I really wanted to do. I bought a guitar, and there was a guy on the campus who played, fantastic blues player named Ian Buchanan. And he had a student of his, they called him Jerry Kalkinen, but it was Jorma Kalkinen. Right. A year and a half later, I was out in California playing professionally. It happened very quickly. I knew pretty much when I got that guitar, that's what I wanted to do.
Is Jorma still a bud?
Oh, yeah, man. He had his 75th birthday reunion party at the Beacon Theater in New York City, and he invited me to be part of it. I've stayed friends with him for 56 years.
How about Jack?
Jack, I've known Jack through Jorma, but I've known him a long time.
Can you stand?
Oh, have you? Oh, God.
And they've stayed together. Talk about an enduring thing, right?
Great friends. Well, Jorma's a very special person, and he's very, very deep.
He is deep, and that's a great word to think about some of the cats you're associated with. Certain names get just thrown out. People associate with you. For example, the other day downstairs, we were listening to the fantastic live version of In Memory of Elizabeth Reed from live at the Fillmore East from the Allman Brothers. Yeah. And I was mentioning to my boss, Bill, it's Dickie takes the first solo, then Greg does the keyboard in the middle, and then Dwayne takes that lightning second solo. And these are
both talented guys, but Dwayne had that little extra thing.
Right.
And Dwayne was the force behind the band. I mean, he really put it together. I met Dwayne before he formed the Allman Brothers Band, and he had sat in on a recording date of mine in Muscle Shoals, 1969. And we became really good friends, and he was just so talented and such a great guy. They actually opened a show for me in St. Paul, Minnesota in 1969-70, just when they first got started. Well, I was hanging out in Muscle Shoals. I'd been sent there by Atlantic to record with Marlon Green producing, and it was going kind of tough. I was having a hard time communicating with the studio band there, who had recorded with Aretha and with, Wilson Pickett and all these R&B guys. One of the studio guys was Eddie Hinton, and Eddie was a phenomenal songwriter, guitar player, just great singer. And he said, a friend of mine is going to be over here tomorrow. I think you'd really like to meet him. This is Dwayne, who I had never met. So this Dwayne and Barry Oakley arrived in an abandoned milk truck, and he had a T-shirt that said City Slicker on it. And then, he had this long hair and a ponytail. In 1969 in Alabama. And he was fearless, and so we played some stuff, and I had my National steel guitar, and he says, "Oh, you know that Taj Mahal song, Statesboro Blues?" I said, "Wait a minute." And I told him, this is a Blind Willie McTell song.
And he was made popular.
And so Dwayne all of a sudden got into, all these old-time slide players, and he was just phenomenal. He had those ears,
What a great story, because then for a lot of younger folks who don't know as much lineage about that tune, they'd associate it with the brothers, of course.
Yeah.
And it's funny that you mention it, had Taj talking about all the same stuff in the same chair that you've been in,
yeah, I know.
right here in this room. So we're completing a lot of circles.
I've had so many recording experiences, going back. I knew Dylan really well when he first came to New York, and he went to my recording sessions. I went to his, and
aren't you the guy who recommended the band Cats to him?
I introduced him to Bob. 1964, the So Many Roads album that I made for Vanguard.
What's a John Lee Hooker thing that comes to mind?
I met John Lee Hooker in 1963 in Toronto. I was going to be the opening show for him at this little club called the Penny Farthing. So I'm waiting for this 7-foot guy to walk in the door. I imagined him eating 4 chickens at once, his voice was like unbelievable. And this little guy wanders in with this funky little guitar and the voice, and I said, oh my God. So that's when I first met John Lee, and then I got to be on a lot of shows with him and got to know him as a friend and recorded with him. He recorded with me. I felt like, ooh, kind of nice. We had the same agent, so we were on tours together often in Europe and all through the U.S. and Canada.
He was a phenomenal cat, and a lot of people have so many different experiences with. Sometimes that's also neat when someone like yourself has had a career that's so long. There are different eras where different people sort of populate it, right?
That's right.
More than other eras. And it's not just because they're alive, but just the way touring and agents sometimes, record labels, sort of thing works out. Little Big Man, Dustin Hoffman.
Ooh, that was interesting. In 1970, I'd just come back from a tour with Delaney, Bonnie, and friends, and Billy Preston in a bus, not a touring bus, a bus. And we've been on the road for about a month playing in Utah and Oklahoma and Texas. It was just a rough tour. I got home and the phone rang. And this guy said, my name is Stuart Millar, and I'm a producer, and we have a film, and we'd like to hear you play. I said, well, I've made 5 records, you could hear what I sound like. And he said, no, we'd like to actually see you and hear you play. I mentally flipped a coin and said, okay. So I went up to a sound studio where they showed me a 5-hour film called Little Big Man. This is before it was edited. It was just, raw
tape.
And I said, well, the music I play, didn't exist then. He said, it doesn't matter, it'll work. And I met Arthur Penn, the director, who was responsible for doing Bonnie and Clyde with Flatt and Scruggs playing the background music and stuff. So it was really intense. They flew me out to Hollywood, and I recorded live to the film. It was a big deal. I remember I got paid $1,100 for it, and it was an $11 million movie, which is more than any movie had ever cost. But over the years, it's paid off big time.
Is that how it just keeps...
Well, I did the whole soundtrack, so I got the credit for that, and BMI sends me a check every year. So
continues to work like that as they continue to sell it as DVD, then digital.
Yeah, but it's on TV every now and then. It played in the same theater in Paris for 5 years or something unbelievable. There's so many artists that I've met that if I'm in their area and I hang out with guys I've recorded with and toured with, and I lost a friend just last year who played drums with me when I had my little band on the road, Charles Otis. That was heavy. Every now and then, I just lost a friend last month who I grew up with, Jeremy Steig, but he was, I guess, my oldest friend.
Are you a spiritual guy?
Oh, I think everybody's a spirit. Some more connected than others, but I really, I feel very blessed. I feel very fortunate in my life to have the spirit, whatever it is, come through me.
Guitarist, songwriter John Hammond in our HPR Atherton Performing Arts Studio. It just sounds so nice in this room, and thank you for being here.
What a pleasure. Aloha, it's John Hammond. I can't think of a better place to be. You're tuned to my friend Dave Lawrence.